Welcome back. You're watching Credlin. Well, former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull will be sitting down to chat with climate scientist Tim Flannery in an online event hosted by left-wing political activist group Get Up. According to the website, Turnbull, Flannery and the chair of Get Up, Carla McGrath, will discuss how Australia can move beyond decades of gridlock and take real action to address the climate crisis. Let's begin my panel for their thoughts. Sky News host of Outsiders, Rowan Dean, along with Liberal Party Vice President Tina McQueen from Sydney.
Hi, Peter.
I'll tell you what, Rowan, have you raced out and got your ticket to this so-called exclusive event?
Actually, I'd love to go. It sounds absolutely hilarious. At least, you know, there'll be laughs aplenty. Flannery and Turnbull, what a double act. I mean, it'd be like, you know, one of the great comedy duos, I don't know, the two Ronnies or something like that. Let's not forget, it'd be fascinating, maybe the moderator, so-called moderator from Get Up, can put this into the questions. But Tim Flannery told us very authoritatively that there would be no more water in any dams, and the dams would never fill up ever again, and the rivers would all run dry. So he was saying that's the cause of, that's what's going to happen because of climate change. Malcolm Turnbull had a solution for climate change, which is pushing water uphill. But how can you push the water uphill if there's no water in any of the dams? So I think it'll be a great session, and I can't wait to hear their solutions for how they can impoverish us and make renewables investors as rich as possible with more wacky schemes from the two of them.
Stop with the common sense, Rowan. It doesn't work when you talk about climate change. It's a religion. It's a dogma.
Exactly.
Tina, you know, you're a Liberal Party Vice President at the federal level. Malcolm's been doing a lot of media, 3 appearances on the ABC last Sunday and Monday, now a special event for Get Up. Important to note too, Get Up was before the JSCM, the Electoral Committee in the Parliament, accused of doing pretty terrible US tactics to candidates like Liberal woman Nicole Flint at the last election. But there he is, fronting up with Get Up. Remind me again what party that Malcolm Turnbull used to lead. I'm a bit lost.
Oh, look, it's just ridiculous, Peter. And to appear with Get Up, look, it wasn't only Nicole Flint. My experiences with Get Up in Warringah was absolutely disgraceful. Yes, they used all those US tactics, but the number of times I was spat on, Peter, physically spat on by these lunatics, I can't believe Malcolm Turnbull would sit in the same room, particularly after what they did to Nicole and many, many others. It's disgraceful.
Well, it used to be called the Garden State on licence plates when I was a kid. Then it was Victoria, the state on the move under Jeff Kennett. I reckon it's a state of scandals now, Rowan. We had a Health Secretary, Kim Peake, resign yesterday. This is all about the saga of hotel quarantine. 3rd high-profile member to go. We haven't even got to the bottom of these dodgy contracts and all the other major decisions. Surely we're going to see some truth in government in this Coate report by the end of the year, or am I just hoping for a Christmas miracle?
Well, I think I thought it was a very risky tactic when they were talking about the state of disaster. I could have seen that one turning up on number plates pretty quickly, but I don't think that's what they had in mind. Listen, Peter, the reality is that the hotel quarantine inquiry was a complete joke from beginning to end, stacked with the most useless individuals involved. There's only 1 or 2 people in Victoria who have held this mob to account, and that's namely you, Peta Credlin, as well as Rachel Baxendale and a couple of other people from the dreaded News Corps who've actually bothered to put the blowtorch to these clowns. It's a joke. It's worthy of, you know, Belarus or Kazakhstan under Borat, that the person responsible for all this, the one person who should have been punted, is, of course, Daniel Andrews. And he throws one after another of his faceless minions to the lions, whereas he escapes all blame, all opprobrium, and that is just typical of someone who has no respect for the system of democracy that holds the person at the top accountable. The buck stops here. That was what every great democratic leader has ever said. Clearly not with Dan Andrews. I think he takes his cues from China on more than just the Belt and Road Initiative.
Very, very true. Tina, I've got to ask you, yesterday, the New South Wales Upper House, they passed a parliamentary motion to refer the Premier to ICAC, but this was rejected in the lower house. Mark Latham says she must appear before ICAC, and all the issues in relation to the relationship with Daryl Maguire have to be properly looked at. What should happen now?
Look, it won't pass the lower house, Peter, but sadly for the Premier, this is not going away. And what I find remarkable, compare the Premier, who the public's behind and simply said, you know, she had poor choice in men, to the two ministers on Four Corners the other night. No sex scandal, no corruption, nothing. And what those poor buggers have went through compared to the Premier. So there's definitely an imbalance here. But look, this is going to hang around the Premier for a long, long time. Labor will seize that, Peter. And certainly, I mean, as Mark said, maybe there are more questions to be answered, but it's not going to pass the lower house for an ICAC referral.
Rowan?
Look, I'm no fan of ICACs. I think they're a joke, these star chambers. You look what they did to Margaret Cunneen, Kazal Sharif and others. But my sympathy runs out for Gladys Berejiklian. Mark Latham is absolutely entitled to call for her to go in front of ICAC and to make whatever allegations he wants to. And he's referring to an incident in 2017 and so on, all absolutely above board for Mark to make that call. But what I will say, my sympathy runs out for Gladys Berejiklian, given that still, I believe, on ICAC's website, Kazal Sharif, for example, is labelled corrupt. A bloke who never did anything wrong, a businessman who got caught up in some nasty political games. And yet, you know, if Gladys really cared about ICAC, she or one of her predecessors would have sorted out the Kazal Sharif case and others, but they haven't. So I have zero sympathy. If she ends up in front of ICAC, well, there you go.
And Peter, don't forget,
very imperfect body.
Sorry, Peter, it wasn't so long ago in Operation Spicer that we lost 8 Conservative politicians who all did nothing wrong, and ICAC to half of them have admitted that. And, you know, it was instant step down for them, no sympathy for the government, no support anywhere. 3 of those attempted to take their own life. It's disgraceful.
Yes, it is. We need a whole look at ICAC all over again. Got to leave it there. Tina McQueen, Rowan Dean, thank you as always. Have a lovely weekend.
Thanks, Peter. See you, Tina.